All right, what is going on? My name is Darian Ray, and today in this video, I'm going to walk you through the exact DM scripts that I used on LinkedIn to get my first 10K month last year. You're going to have the plug and play templates, the strategies, the spreadsheets to track all your numbers, everything like that. I'm going to give you it all in this video, so make sure you watch all the way to the end. And if you're new here and you're wondering who I am, who is this guy? So last year, I scaled my consulting business to 6 figures in 2024 using one channel, which was LinkedIn. Organically, of course, now I'm on YouTube, but back then, only using LinkedIn, only using obviously content as well, and then these DM scripts I'm going to teach you today. So that's what we're going to cover in this video. So buckle up and let's get right to it. So before I actually get into the scripts and all that kind of stuff, I just want to walk through, if you don't know, what the big difference is between warm and cold outreach. So warm outreach is essentially just starting a conversation with somebody who already knows you and is familiar with you, right? So this could be followers, connections, somebody who's engaged with your content, liked, commented, anything like that. Maybe you guys have chatted before in the past in the DMs. They know you, they're familiar with you. There's a little bit of trust built, or at least they know you're a real person, right? So this person knows who you are. They've seen your content. You've talked before. One of those things. So warm outreach is a lot easier because of the things I just mentioned, right? They already know you. They know that you're not some stranger trying to scam them potentially. I mean, hey, you could probably still scam them, but at least they know you're a real person. Cold outreach is when you start a conversation with somebody who doesn't know you. They're an absolute stranger, right? So ways that you could do this are like scraping emails and then reaching out to them, putting prospects together in Sales Navigator, right? Putting a list together in there. Those are going to be all cold prospects. You could go to a follower list of somebody in your niche. So if you have a competitor who's crushing it in the same niche as you could go look at their followers, their connections, stuff like that, and their comment section. Cool. So cold outreach is a lot harder because the person doesn't know you and there's zero trust built, right? Of course. So there's this high skepticism because you could easily be a scam. They don't know you. Yes, there are ways to get around this and mitigate this, things like your follower account. Regardless of the meaning of your follower account or not, if you have 100,000 followers and you reach out to someone cold, that social proof is going to kind of help get through that cold barrier. But for the most part, probably most of you, if you're stuck under 10K a month, probably don't have 100,000 followers, I would imagine. So that's the main differences between warm and cold. Once again, just to summarize, warm, this person knows you, they're familiar with you, there's a little bit of trust built, something like that. And then cold outreach, absolute stranger, never heard of you, they don't know you at all. Cool? And yeah, warm is a bit easier because, once again, of the things we just mentioned. Cold, harder. Sweet. So before we get into the scripts and stuff like that, there's a couple prerequisites that are going to make this way more effective. So this will not work as effectively if you don't have any social proof. So when you're reaching out to people, your profile, if you have like no followers, no testimonials, nothing like that, is going to be really, really hard. It's also not going to work as effectively if your profile is not geared towards the people you serve. I see this all the time. A lot of the clients come to me in my program and their LinkedIn profile literally just, there's no targeting at all. It says they help pretty much everybody. There's no niche specificity there. Nobody reads it and feels like, holy crap, this is for me. This person can help me. Right? So their profile is just broad, generic, whatever. And once again, targeting, the two in the same. But essentially, if you are telling everyone that you can help everyone, it's no bueno. It's no good. Because nobody is going to feel like, holy crap, this person's specialized in helping me if you don't even mention them. Right? So these three things are going to make it a lot harder if you do not have them. Now, as far as the strategy for warm. So once again, warm is the people that already know us, right? You want to find a dream client you know you can help that is already familiar with you. So you want to find this person. You want to go to your followers list, your connections list. Are they engaging with your content? We're going to get into that a little bit more later, but that's what you're going to do. And then you're just going to DM them using one of the scripts I'm going to give you today. As for strategy, for cold, it's a little bit different. Because now this person, once again, is a stranger. You're not connected. You can't just go to your content, see if they liked it or followed you or something like that. So what you're going to do is you're going to find a dream client you know you can help. Ideally, you'd be using Sales Navigator or something like that for this. You can still do it on the free version. I'll show you how to do that. But like on the free LinkedIn version. But yeah, you want to just find somebody that you know you can help. So once again, these prerequisites here, you need to know who are you targeting, who can you help? Because if you don't know that, how are you going to go find them? It doesn't make sense, right? Then you're going to send them a connection request with no note. I've tested this a lot. I've sent connection requests with a note and a comment on their last post. I've sent them no connection request, no comment, stuff like that. The thing that does the best is just sending them a connection and a like. There wasn't enough drop off in the stats or in the percentage of accepts, people accepting those requests, for me to really go that extra mile and write a personalized comment on their post and a personalized note. Like, it wasn't noticeable enough drop off for me to even consider that, right? Because the amount of time I'm saving, much, much higher. And then you're going to DM everyone who accepts using the script that I'm going to give you as well. So something to note, that LinkedIn has a connection request limit per week. So there's 100 for a regular account. So if you don't have a premium account or a sales nav or anything like that, you get 100 connects to send per week. And then for the premium accounts, you can get 200. I send 20 a day. I do it 7 days a week. So it works out to be about 140. So I'm kind of in between there. But even if you're on the regular account and you're sending 20 a day, Monday to Friday, that's going to be pretty solid. So what I do is I keep track of everything in this spreadsheet. So this spreadsheet here, it's just a Google Sheet. And essentially what I'm going to track is, okay, on the first of each month, how many connects did I send? Well, not just the first, every day. How many people accepted? Then it's going to populate the conversion percentage. You want this conversion percentage to be about 50%. That's the goal. And then out of those people who accepted and you start DMing with the scripts I'm going to give you, how many people are interested? So a lead, consider, like in this context, what a lead is just somebody who's shown some sort of interest in what you do or what you're saying. So if somebody responds to your first message, that's not a lead. They have to have the problem that you're going to ask them. They're going to seem interested and genuinely want to know more about what you do. Then how many of those people who are interested turn to actually booking a call? That's going to be your booking rate. So you want about a 50% booking rate for that as well. I'll change that after the video. It's 13. We'll just do it right now. So you want about 50% of the people who are interested, right? You want about 50% of them booking a call. And then how many of those people are actually going to show up to your call? So typically it's about 80%. So, if you book 10 calls, 8 people on average are going to show. And then how many of those are you going to close? And that's how you get your close rate, and you'll know your close percentage. These are all very important metrics for you to start making money and hit your first 10K online. So that's what the spreadsheet's going to track. Okay, there's other things here that you want to look for down here. You're just going to duplicate this every single month. You just duplicate, do a new month. But you want to be tracking these numbers. Like, you need to be knowing. So, for example, if your conversion percentage is under 50%, well, what does that tell you? These people you're sending connects to are probably looking at your profile and saying, this person's not relevant to me. This person can't help me. So, like, I used to help executive coaches, right? So my headline and everything on LinkedIn said, I help executive coaches, whatever. So when I was connecting with them, I had a very high percentage of people accepting it because it was very clear that I could help them, right? So that's an absolute must. The good part about when you start tracking your numbers like this is you can start to see little bottlenecks. You can see, okay, let's say you go through this whole thing and you're crushing it, but you're not closing. Well, it's your sales skills, right? Or if your leads generated aren't turning into book calls, well, you're just not great at DMing yet. So it's just like you can actually pinpoint where your issues are when you start tracking your numbers like this. So that's what you're going to do with that. And just so you know, the whole goal of this strategy I'm showing you is to get your offer in front of more eyeballs. That's it. Because if you're not running ads or you're not creating a lot of content, you have to do this. You can't just expect magically people to start coming to you and paying you money, right? You have to get in front of them. So I didn't hit my first 10K month until I started doing outreach. It's an absolute must. Like, I was stuck at 4 to 5K per month with my consulting business for almost a year, and I wasn't doing outreach. There was other things involved, limiting beliefs and stuff like that. But once I started doing this is when things really took off, right? And especially if you're not running ads. So just a reminder, you have to be getting your offer in front of people, especially if you're not paying for a means of getting it out there. So outreach, really, really great way to do that. Cool. So that's how we do that. Now let's get into the good stuff. So the scripts, you're going to notice that the scripts are they're very similar, but it's more the approach of how you get there. So I'll explain. So we're going to get into the warm ones. So before you send a message, send a connection request if you're not connected and comment on their last post. So this just gets you like familiarity again. They're going to get a notification. They're just going to see that you commented on their last post. Also, feel free to change these scripts slightly to match your voice and your brand better. Now, one thing I wanted to talk about as well is I understand like if you don't have a bunch of warm prospects, I didn't in the beginning either. So double down on doing the cold and also just doing more content, because the more content you create, the more warm you're going to create, right? People liking, engaging, following you, stuff like that. But I do understand that is like an objection, right? I don't have people liking my posts, or I don't have any followers, whatever. Create them. Cool. So each one of these is going to be relevant to what the person does. So the recent follower, this is the script I send them. So somebody follows me, I post a piece of content, I notice somebody follows me, I'll say, hey name, thanks for the follow, I appreciate your support. I was reading your about section and I'll say something specific. So one thing you're going to notice here about the way that I teach this isn't just a bunch of automated bullshit. Like I'm actually personalizing messages. I'm creating a connection with people. I'm doing everything that most people don't want to do. I'm actually going to their about section. I'm actually reading it. I'm saying something about it, right? It just builds so much more trust, especially nowadays with AI, everything's automated. People are going to see, holy crap, this person actually took the time to do it. So what does this look like? I'll come to my profile here. I'll go to my followers here. And so look, Anne, she just followed me today, right? She helps personal brands build a consistent brand online. So then what I would do is I would connect with her, right? No message. And I would send her this. If she accepts, I'd say, hey Anne, thanks for the follow. This script right here, right? And then I would say, how long have you been helping personal branders for? Right? Because that's what she does, right? She helps personal brands. So I'd be like, how long have you helped personal brands for? Cool. You'll see how to follow up with these messages after. So then we have the recent connection request. So it's going to be the same thing. I'll go to my network here and I'm going to look at who's recently sent me connects and who is in my dream client, who is in my ICP, who can I help? So that's why the prerequisites are so important. You have to know who you help. You can't be somebody who doesn't have a niche. You don't even know who you're helping. This isn't going to work. So yeah, I would just come through here and find somebody. So, James. So for me personally, I help service providers, right? So coaches, consultants, writers, people like that. So I would just be looking for them in here. And then I would send them this. Hey name, thanks for the connection request. I'd love to have you in my network. I was reading your about section. Okay, so for example, let's just go to, this guy here, AJ. So it looks like he has a service business, right? So I would come to his about section. So he has 20 plus years as a tech software entrepreneur, right? So I would say, I see you have, and I love, you can change this, right? So I was reading your about section and see you have 20 plus years in, as a tech entrepreneur. How long have you been, coaching for now? Something like that. That's it. Very, very simple. The profile viewer, this one's only going to be relevant if you have a premium account. But once again, you're just going to come here and you're going to go to your profile views. And if somebody's relevant to somebody you can help, somebody in your niche, once again, you're just going to send them this message. The commenter, the liker, I don't even think I have to explain that. If someone comments on your post, send them this, likes this. And then also on LinkedIn, people can repost. So if someone reposts, do this. So the whole goal here, these people are warm. They've kind of initiated the relationship. They followed you, they commented, they liked, they viewed your profile, something like that. So they took the first step. So now your positioning's a lot stronger because now you're not kind of reaching out to a stranger. They've kind of already given the first step. Okay. So once you send that message, for everybody who responds, okay, they're going to say something, right? So how long have you been doing it? So they might be like, oh, Darian, yeah, thanks for reaching out. I loved your post. I've been doing this for 4 years. So I'll respond positive, like, hey, thanks. I really, really do appreciate you engaging with my content. I actually work with, and then you'll say their niche. So if they're like let's say they're a fitness coach, right? So I'll respond to what they said and I'll say, hey, I work with fitness coaches, so I'm always curious. What's been your biggest challenge when it comes to, landing clients over those 4 years that you've been doing it? So now what I'm trying to do is get their biggest challenge, right? Because the whole goal here is to qualify. And what I mean by qualify is to see if they need help and you can actually help them. This is why most people who do cold outreach and send a bunch of cold DMs and cold emails, you don't even know if that person even needs help. So you're already just at such a disadvantage. Forget the positioning and the sort of the neediness behind it. You're also just like, you don't even know if they need help, right? So with these DMs approaches, we can just see if they even need help. So we're not wasting our time on people who will never buy, right? So that's what we say. What's your biggest challenge over those years? Very straightforward stuff, guys. This is not mind-blowing, groundbreaking stuff, but it works. So they'll respond again, right? Now, what you'll notice is some people will respond and say things like, hey, Darian, no, I don't have any challenges, or things are going great. Something to keep in mind, like even if they are lying, it doesn't matter because you're not just going to call somebody out for lying anyway. So this is much about disqualifying as it is qualifying. Like I was just talking about, we don't want to be spending our time and energy on somebody who's not actually qualified anyway. So if someone's like, oh yeah, things are great, I just say this. So I'll say, glad to hear things are going well. If things ever change, I help, fitness coaches get more clients through email and have already helped, 20 others, 4x their income, whatever your social proof is. Don't hesitate to reach out. So I'm saying like, hey, if things ever change, I actually help you with this. So don't ever hesitate to reach out. It's just one final way to just get your offer in front of them, right? So even if they aren't ready now. So even if they're not ready, at least we're still just getting our offer out there in front of them and, planting a seed for hopefully the future. So that's for people who just, aren't qualified. For people who are qualified, so they do answer like, hey, Darian, yeah, I'm really struggling with getting clients, right? There's 2 ways you can do this that I've done both. So you can push for a call. So if you're kind of more high ticket, you probably want to push more for a call. Or you can send them a lead magnet. This one is crushed for me. I'll send them a lead magnet. I'll put them into a funnel and email automation. That's way out of the scope of this video. But if you do have a lead magnet, you want to build trust on video, stuff like that, this is a really good way to do it. So you can push for a call. So, hey, Darian, I've been trying for the last year and I just can't seem to get clients. So I'll be like, hey, man, that really sucks. And I know what the grind feels like. I used to be there. I don't know, something like that. If you're down, we can hop on a quick strategy call. It's free. So make sure they know it's free. Like you're not, some people, believe it or not, think if you ask them for a call that they have to pay for it. So it's free. And I'll walk you through how to fix it, plus the steps I'd take if I was in your shoes. Want me to send over my calendar? This has booked me so many calls. It's insane. Like, believe it or not, if somebody self-identifies that they have a problem. So one thing I want you to notice with this script here, we're not just reaching out, pitching them. We're asking about them. We're asking them things about themselves. People love talking about themselves. So we're not just like, oh, this person looks like somebody I could potentially get money from and just, hey, do you want to book a call? Or, hey, do you want to join this? No, that's not what we're doing. We're asking them questions about themselves. We're letting them self-identify that they have a problem, that they're qualified. Okay. So that's what we're going to be doing for that one. And then obviously I don't even have the follow-up here because if they're like, yeah, please send over your calendar, you just send them the link. You don't need a script for that. As far as the lead magnet, so once again, the fitness coach, like in my example here, if they're saying, hey, yeah, Darian, I just can't seem to get clients, even though, I've been working on my program and all this stuff. So I'll be like, gotcha. Yeah, it's not fun when, and I'll just re-say the problem they said in their words. It's no fun when, you're building out a program and you just can't, and it's good and you just can't get clients. This might be helpful. I put together a free resource showing, once again, fitness coaches, their dream outcome step by step. No pressure, but if you want, I can send it over. This one has also cleaned up for me. I've tested putting a gate here. And by gate, I mean like an opt-in. So do they have to give you their email to get the lead magnet? Of course, in a perfect world, yes, you would get their email because it's a lead. You don't want to just lose them. But there is a little bit of a drop-off, of course, when they open it and then they see that there's like they have to put in their email. But I would encourage you to gate it because now you can put them into email sequences, or you can just at least nurture them through email over, like, you know, if you're sending 1 email, 2 emails a week, whatever you're doing. So I would encourage you to do that. Yes, you're going to lose out on potential leads, but chances are they're probably going to be more qualified anyway. And then here's a daily checklist just to make sure that I'm doing this every single day. So this is going to be really, really important. So make sure you do not skip this checklist, okay? Here's the daily to do. So I connected with and DM'd any new follower. So like I showed you, any follower in here, go to your profile. Any new follower who matches your ICP, your dream client, whatever you want to call it, your target audience, somebody you think you could help, like, you know, holistic leadership coach, Caitlin, that looks like somebody I could help, right? So I connect with her, DM her one of the scripts, right? Thanks for the follow. Exactly, right? Any connection requests. So like I showed you again, anything in here, anybody who looks like somebody I can help, I'm going to DM them. Anyone who viewed my profile, if you have a premium account, of course, if not, just skip that, who commented or liked my content. So I can go to my content. So I did a post today. So I would actually probably wait to do that one because, you know, it's only been out for an hour, so not everyone's seen that. This one's only been out 14 hours. So if we go back to one I did a little bit longer, like a day ago, right? Or this one. I would come in here and I would just look at the people who liked it, and anyone who matches my target audience, I would connect with, send them a message, right? So Wendy, she's a leadership coach. So I'm going to do that after this video. And then same thing in here. I would go to my comments and look. So these people are kind of raising their hand and showing you like, hey, I'm interested in what you're saying, what you're doing, something like that. So we don't want to like warm. Remember, warm is easier to close these clients. So we always want to do warm first. Okay. And then anyone who reposted my content. So I do this checklist every single day. I come in here, I do this, boom. So that is how the warm is going to go. And that's the scripts for that. So as far as the cold, one second, I'm just going to drink something because my throat's getting a little. Okay. So cold. Once again, cold is going to be a little bit harder, of course, but that's okay because I've closed cold clients before. It's fine, especially if you do all those prerequisites I talked about. Your profile's targeted, you have some social proof, all those things. So here's the process I follow every single day. So I find 20 of my ICP, dream client, whatever you want to call it, in Sales Navigator every single day. I like their last post. I send a connection request. I follow up with everyone who accepts it because remember, I'm tracking it in that spreadsheet, and then I'm going to update it all in my spreadsheet. Now, I understand if you don't have Sales Navigator, you can still do it in here. So if I were to, you don't need, Sales Navigator is just easier because you can track things and put them all together in a list, right? But if I wanted to target fitness coaches, I would type in fitness coach, filter it by people. You can also do, you know, locations. So let's say I wanted to do US, Canada. Okay, so now look, I have a whole list of fitness coaches. So you don't need Sales Navigator. It's just a bonus. But you know, it's no excuse. If you don't have Sales Navigator, you can't tell me, oh, I can't do it. Right? It's just an excuse. So once again, the first message. Now, because they didn't do something to us, they didn't follow, they didn't connect, we have to say, hey, name, I saw your post about the topic. I really liked something specific. Figured I'd reach out to connect. So, Eric. Let's say, Eric, I'm targeting fitness coaches. So what I would do, I would connect with him and I would like his last post. Okay, he hasn't posted. Let's say he did, though. I would like his last post, right? And I would say, once he accepts, I only send this message, follow up with everyone who accepts. So just to give more clarity on this, the reason why we don't send a personalized note is because not everyone's going to accept your request, right? So if you're spending all this time personalizing notes and they're not even going to accept it, it just doesn't make sense, right? But everyone who accepts, now you know they're active on LinkedIn. You know that they're, already said yes to you. Now you can come in and do that. So I would just say, let's see if we can find someone who actually has commented recently or posted recently. Cool. So she posted a day ago, 2 days ago. So she's active, right? So let's say, I connect with her and I like her post. She accepts, right? So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy paste this into the message. And I'm going to say, hey, Betterica, saw your last post about the 1200 calorie diet, right? I saw your last post about that. I really like, I could say like, I really liked how you added a video to go with it. Something like that. Figured I'd reach out to connect. Once again, notice how we're not pitching them right away. Like most people are playing the game like that. The more you chase people and you try to like hunt them down, the more they're going to resist. We want to feel like we're kind of attracting them, even though we are reaching out to them. But there's like a delicate way to do it. So let's say Erica says, hey, Darian, yeah, thanks. I had a coach put me on that and it sucked. So then I would ask her a business question. So I'd be like, yeah, that sounds terrible. Like I could eat 2,000 calories in one meal. Haha. I don't know, whatever your personality is. And then I would say I was reading your about section and love, right? So once again, this is after she's responded. So I'd be like, I love how you're specialized in, weight loss for busy women. Targeting makes the whole thing easier. What's your biggest challenge when it comes to, landing clients? We're on this one. I was reading your about section and I love how you target, women. How long have you been coaching for? And then she'll tell me. And then I'll say, oh, okay, cool. It sounds like you've been doing it for a while now. I work with fitness coaches, so I'm always curious. What's been your biggest challenge when it comes to, and once again, the whole reason I'm telling you need to know your target and stuff is because you're not going to know what their dream outcome is if you don't know your niche. So the fitness coaches is, I would imagine it's probably clients or getting people to sign up to their program or something. But the reason I'm saying this is because like, if you don't know what your niche and the people you're helping want, you're not going to be able to position yourself. Once again, this is a whole nother video. I don't want to get too into like niching and like positioning and stuff, but if you don't even know what they want, it's going to be really hard to sell them on your service or what you're trying to help them with, right? But if she's been doing it for 4 years, what's your biggest challenge when it comes to signing clients over those 4 years? So this is why I'm telling you it's so important to know who you're helping. Cool? Now, once again, the same as like I said above. Some people are going to be like, oh, I had no problems, like I have 100,000 followers on YouTube. I get clients every day, whatever. But some people aren't. And those are people these are the exact same scripts as the warm one. So you're just going to, if they tell you their problem and you can help them and they're qualified, like you can help them, then you're going to send them this to push for a call or get them into your funnel. So into a lead magnet. Hopefully your lead magnet is like a VSL, does a lot of selling and nurturing as well and educating, but put them into an email sequence, whatever you got to do. Now, the last thing that we're going to talk about is just follow-ups. A lot of people talk about this, right? There's a lot of, I didn't even finish this, but there's a lot of people who are talking about you need to follow up. You need to follow up until they block you and all this shit. Personally, like I've been talking about this whole video, I'm not a big fan of people making my prospects feel like I'm chasing them and pushing them. So I just follow up once, and if they don't answer, then I just move on. Like I'd rather put my mental energy and my focus on people who are responding, talking to me, and have a problem I can help with, and people that I can really help, right? So I only follow up once, and this is my follow-up. I'll just say, hey, name, I know the inbox gets busy, so just bumping this up. If they don't respond to that, I just move on. And I do this follow-up after 2 days. So after I've sent them a message, even if it's a second, third message, whatever, even if it's after I offer them to get on a call or send a lead magnet, if they don't answer, I'll just do the follow-up. And that's it. So I know it sounds so simple. I know it sounds very, very simple because it is. This isn't complicated. You don't have to make this like this huge, oh my God, I need to know, I need to do like this, I need to say this or use this persuasion principle. Like if you understand your target and you know what they want and you know that you can help them, just make it obvious to them that you can help them. Once again, know the difference between the warm and the cold. These prerequisites, you need to have them. So if you don't have social proof, chances are you're probably not even thinking about going to 10K right now. You're probably trying to get your first client, and in other, work for free, get some testimonials, whatever you got to do. But you got to know who you're helping. You have to have some sort of targeting. Your profile has to be targeted, because once again, if you send them a message, they're going to go look at your profile. And if it's not relevant to them, then they're just not going to respond or whatever, right? And then start with warm every day. Go through this checklist. Always start with warm. Remember, they've taken a step towards you first, so they're much easier to start conversations with and get them going to a call or in your funnel. And then also do cold. If you're not running ads, if you're not, you don't have a whole bunch of traffic, you have to be doing this. This is how I got to my first 10K month. So now, if you want this Notion doc, it's free for all members who are in my free school community. I'm going to link it in the description under this video. So you can, copy and paste all these DMs. You can just copy this Notion doc in there. It's free to join. It's going to be in there. And once again, if you're new here, please drop me a subscribe. I'm going to be giving away a lot more information like this. And I really just want to help people where I was and just, give you some value. And so, yeah, if you want this, go check that link out. If not, drop me a sub and more content like this. Peace.